Tonight's Not the Show podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get your free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/nottheshow. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Audibletrial.com/nottheshow. Good evening and welcome to Not the Show. I'm Joe.
And I'm Mondo.
How are you, sir?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good. 2 weeks in a row we're doing the show. That hasn't happened in a while. We've been skipping around.
We have been.
But yeah,
we're busy.
Yeah, life is busy.
It is.
I watched the Yankees sweep the Mets today out of the stadium. Yeah, I took
Poor
JoJo.
Mets.
Nice. I watched it until the seventh inning stretch when the Mets were winning 3-0, and then we left. And then I listened in the car to the Mets, Yankees come back. I had a car. You can't go to Yankee Stadium in a car and expect to stay till the end, because then it takes an hour to get out of the parking lot and an hour to get yourself to any highway that's anywhere nearby. So it would have taken me 2 hours longer to get home. I made it home by the end of the eighth. I left the seventh inning stretch, and I was home to see the tying run, and then to see the whole ninth, where the Mets got up a run. The Mets were winning 4-3, and then the Yanks tied it up 4-4, and then I got to see the walk-off home run that the Yanks won the game. So I got home, within 40 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple innings. It was a breeze. $35 to park, $30 for hot dogs and sodas, $60 a ticket. Not a cheap day to go to Yankee Stadium.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's expensive, dude. But I mean, it's Yankees and Mets, so the tickets are a lot of money,
right?
Because they're hard to get. So you have to. I take whatever I can get when it's that kind of game. But I brought JoJo. He was the other $60 seat.
Well, that's cool though. Did he have a good time?
He paid attention a bit. He liked the fact that the airplanes keep flying overhead. It's in the path of an airport like all the other stadiums in New York.
Right.
So he did enjoy the. I don't know. I don't know what he thought of the game. It's hard to tell. He likes. We go to Staten Island Yankee games, and those are funner for him because it's close to the field, and you got like mascots, and in between innings they do silly stuff, and he digs that stuff.
Right.
But his first big boy Yankee game was pretty. I think he had a good time.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, AJ was there. He showed up after I left to say hello. So, he said hello to Dean. Dean was sitting with me. AJ was sitting elsewhere. And AJ called me. He's like, I'm right by your seat. Come up and say hello. I was like, I'm in the car on the George Washington Bridge. He said, what the hell? I said it's 3-0. I left. He's like, it's 3-2 now. I was like, oh boy. I had traffic. I had the kid with me. I can't stay till the end of the game.
If you stayed till the end of the game, we might have had to skip today's show.
That's right. They were all going to take the train home. I was driving, so yeah. But that was fun. It was a good day. We woke up late. We went out, stayed out late last night. Woke up late this morning. It was fun.
Sounds fun.
Had a good weekend, and we saw Prometheus on Friday.
I saw Prometheus as well.
All right.
It was my first midnight show in like a million years.
Awesome. So you saw it Thursday night.
I did.
See, that would have been cool to do. When Jen doesn't want to see the movie, I can easily go to a midnight show because she doesn't care. But when she wants to see it, I feel like I should wait for her, even if it's something I'm really desperate to see. And we generally find time to see it relatively soon after it comes out. This one I really wanted to see opening weekend, so there was a stipulation behind why we were able to see it on opening weekend. But I'll get into that after we talk about the movie a bit first.
Okay.
So what did you think? I read your review on. Is that your site? That geek.
Yeah, I don't know. I have problems.
Not sure what you're going to do with that. It looks like you're compiling. You're writing. It's almost like an article, like a. I don't know how to describe it. Like IO9, like Blaster, where you're compiling several articles and things that you. Are you going to post there other people's articles as well, like links to, like I do with Stephen King stuff?
Actually, I think that's more what I'd like it to be. More
Yeah.
of. I'm in the middle of redesigning it. I've been tinkering with it, but I want it to be almost more like a Tumblr-like site.
Right.
I might even just do a Tumblr and just like link the, but
like what I do with Discordia 19. It's basically
right.
basically a linked list of and comments. I link to other articles and I comment, and if it's something that's not like it's a bit of news that I can just say, this is what happened, and I just put like source where I found it from, the first place. There's rules to this sort of stuff, right? If there's a source, like if I read it on Lilja's library, right, and Lilja, he got it from StephenKing.com. What the basic rules, the unwritten rules of blogging is, you're supposed to put via Lilja's library and then source StephenKing.com. So no matter who the via is, so if I found it on Fred's website of Stephen King moments, I would have to put via Fred's website, because even though I can just go to StephenKing.com after I see that it was from there originally and call it just a source, which I do when it's unimportant, when it's something that shows up in my Google News automatic Stephen King links that come to me in my email, I don't care what the via was, because we all got it from the same place. All our Stephen King bloggers all subscribe to Google's Stephen King thing, and when one comes into the mail, it's a rush to see who gets it out first, basically.
Right.
So there's the via and then there's the source, and the vias tend to be ridiculous. I use them when the via added something interesting to the article that maybe I'll even reference. I'll even say, Lilja had a nice few interesting ideas about this, and maybe I'll quote it, and then I'll put the via, But if it's something that's just sourced, if I could find the source, I'll go all the way to the source and quote that, give the source the credit rather than the blogger.
Right. That's only fair.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what you're doing there. You're making kind of a linked list kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's geek trash, and it's like the last thing I need is like another project. I need that like a hole in the head. But the name came to me. I was out on my back porch smoking a cigarette and drinking a PBR in my boxer shorts. While reading Harry Harrison's Wheel World and, checking my Twitter feed. And I said something about how I was like, geek trash. Out on the back porch with the cigarette and the boxer shorts. And, of course, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, geek trash. I'm like, I got to see if that's, if I can register the domain. I registered the domain.
I was going to say, did you run right in and check to see if it was available?
Yeah, immediately. Immediately.
I registered a couple of domains this week, too. I don't know. I was feeling every once in a while I'll go to one and I'll check on things that I know are not available in case they become available.
Right.
And so I was just checking on a bunch of stuff, and I had a couple ideas to forward to the Stephen King site. So I took CastleDiscordia.com. I took StarkBlast.com. I just thought that was a cool name for a .com, even though the only people who know what StarkBlast are people who went through the Keyhole, which you haven't read yet.
I haven't.
And StephenDeshane.com. RolandDeshane.com is taken, of course, but I got StephenDeshane.com. And they all just push back to Discordia 19, my Stephen King blog. I own 17 domains at the moment.
That's a lot of domains. I used to own more domains, but most of the ones that weren't that good, I have eventually just let die because but some of them I just hang on to. I don't do anything with them at all.
Well, yeah, me either. I have JenniferCamilleri.com and JenCamilleri.com, and she doesn't want a website, but I don't want anybody else to have her name. And I have Joe Camilleri and Joseph Camilleri. Maybe Jojo will want his name one day as a website, so I have them. They don't even link to anything. I have ojoey.com, ojoey.me, and theojoey.com. Those all go to my blog. And I have Discordia.me, Discordia19.com. Those are Stephen King stuff. And I have the printing shop stuff. I have CamilleriPrinting.com, I have JCPrintshop.com, and I have RaffleBooks.net. Those are all work stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's my list. Most of them are actually in use and practical.
I've got a couple of repeats. I've got like illiterati.org and .com, fuckinginternets.net and .com. Shattercity.net. Looks like I let that one expire. Sprawlcrawler. J. Webster Electric, which is John's electrical thing. That I don't do anything with it. He got a job after I set that up for him.
Right.
Citizenoftheearth.net. I had no idea what I was going to do with that. DharmaEngine.com. No idea. StrangeInAStrangerLand.com was supposed to be more of like just my personal blog, and I don't do anything with that. Bad napkin art I don't do enough with. Repeating Bastards, we still haven't done that.
Yeah, we talked about it, though.
FaceBase Plus I've pretty much given up on. Terminal Signal, that's a more recent one. That's my my daily podcast thing.
Yeah.
CallahansPlace.com. That's one I registered for Mary Ellen's family. She wanted a, I can't remember what it's called now, but they got that point-based like auction system.
Okay.
Listia, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So she wanted one for just her family, so I'm trying to put that together.
Okay.
YouAgreedToThis.com, which is a project I may or may not get to. Slackerazzi.com, I may or may not get to. TipSlam is another idea I had. Then Geek Trash, and one for Ange. Imagine You Are Beautiful. She's going to do her own blog.
Cool.
And she hasn't done anything yet, but we haven't I just set it up for her, and I've got to show her how to do stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a sickness, this domain thing.
Yeah, you get, and then you can let them renew or not renew. And when I use Hover, and they're I think they're like $15 to renew for the year, but then there's always 10%. I can always get 10% off because I know they advertise with podcasts, so I always figure out the podcast code for 10% off. And Hover, there's none of that trash over it. I can't stand which is the big one, GoDaddy.
GoDaddy,
all those oversell and all the, buy this now. You need these now. You need, if you want to pay extra, we'll lock up your information.
Right.
Hover locks up your information on every one.
Yeah, I use Site5.com is where I've got my web host, and I get my domain names through them. It's it used to be $9 a year. It's recently gone up to $12. But that's still pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it sounds like it. All right, so back to Prometheus. You wrote a review up there. You want to talk about it a little bit?
My Prometheus review. I'm not even sure if it's a fair review anymore, but it's mostly fair.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, how spoilerific are we going to get here?
It's tough. It just came out, so we could just say there are spoilers here, and if you're not interested in spoilers, you can skip ahead 10 minutes. Yeah,
go ahead and skip. The 3D was good.
Yeah.
Did you see it in 3D?
Yes.
Excellent. The display, it wasn't overdone. It wasn't in your face 3D.
No, it was good. It was subtle. There were no things poking out at you as you. Hey, look at that.
Right. all of the displays just looked awesome.
It did. The whole first hour, I thought was beautiful and really compelling. The ship and the whole first hour I thought was really fantastic.
Right. And then
and then there were some problems. I mean, when we left the theater, the people we were with, but like everybody was going around and all the holes they found. They were like, what was they I think a big part was what was the point of Charlize Theron's character at all? She didn't have to be there at all.
No,
that was one.
They
point.
wanted a Burke clone from
right
from Aliens.
Someone had to be the company guy.
Right.
And people had weird motivations, and they weren't sure why people did things that they did. I learned more about the movie from IO9 than from seeing the movie, because I read this article on IO9, the review of IO9, and I'll get to that in a minute. Jen was like, why did the robot put the alien into the scientist guy? What for? Who told him to do that? Did somebody tell him to do that? Was there a particular purpose? Why do you choose him and not one of the red shirts that was walking around that got killed anyway at some point or another? Right. Why choose that guy? And, I called them red shirts. That's pretty funny. Yeah. Are these some of the similar problems you had with it?
Yeah. Everybody's motivation was narrow. I mean, basically, all right. I had a problem from the first minute of the movie.
Okay.
The first minute of the movie is we see one of the space jockeys,
the engineers,
right? And he's chilling out on Earth, and his spaceship leaves, and they're just like, and he's gonna go, he's gonna go engineer the human race, and in order to do that, he drinks some stuff and dissolves. And I gotta figure, you've got all this technology, and the only way you can see the planet is by dissolving yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't
combine your own DNA with the black goop DNA
and just drop it off,
dying. Yeah, right.
But okay, maybe maybe it's a point of honor for. I don't know, but so I had a bit of a problem with that. I mean, because it's since we don't understand the engineers at all. I mean, maybe they had a very good reason for that.
There's a lot of that in this movie. I think is that maybe there was we don't know why we first of all. Someone, okay, well, let's start where you started. The people I was with who are not into the sci-fi as much as me said they didn't even notice the combination of the aliens' broken down DNA into new DNA. They were like, "Oh, that's what that was? He was seeding the Earth." I was like, "Yes, that's the whole point of the movie, is that he was yes." So they show his DNA breaking down, and then they show new DNA forming. That's kind of a combination of his and whatever's in the black goo. Now, it's hard to detach myself from aliens when I talk about this stuff too, because it reminds me of the way when we saw after Aliens, right? So in Alien, the alien was different than the aliens in the second movie, right? He had a smooth head. He was more human-like in Alien, and in Aliens there was more animal-like. They ran on all fours when they wanted to go real fast, that kind of stuff. And in the third one, a chest burster came out of a dog, and that was more of a dog-like alien, right? So the combinations of DNA sort of made sense to me in some way as to the future of these things.
Sure.
But then the things that happen at the end of this movie were weird to me, right? Now, I have a question. This was not LV-426, was it?
No, this is LV-223.
Right, there was another number. I knew it was the wrong number. Okay, so we have to assume. So the last scene in this movie, which maybe I don't know how much we want. All right, so the last scene in this movie, the IO9 reviewer said should have been cut out of the movie completely. It made us all feel good because it, tied us into the Alien franchise.
Right.
But he was like, it should have been on the cutting room floor. It wasn't necessary to this story, and. So what are we supposed to assume there? That this new creature that was a combination of human and black goo, the baby of human and black goo, combined with an engineer's DNA, has created what we're seeing to be the early seeds of the aliens we see in the Alien movies.
Right.
Now, is he going to fly a ship and crash on LV-427? That alien? He can't, right? Because we know that an engineer flew a ship there because we see him as the space jockey with his chest exploded. So we know that somehow an impregnated engineer made his way to LV-426. So 427? Is it LV-427?
LV-426.
426, right. So...
All right, well, there were plenty of those domes on the planet.
Yes, there were. There are definitely more ships there.
Right, and Shaw and Robot Head, which is what I started calling David, like, as soon as his head got knocked off.
Yeah.
It's like the Alien franchise. It's like, if you don't, like, somehow, like, take an alien apart and just have, like, his head or his torso hanging out, it's like, they just can't do anything in this universe without dismembering an alien.
That's very true.
An android. But,
very true.
So Robot Head and Shaw, they went to another ship. So, the engineers could have come back and gotten infected.
So we should assume that thing that we saw at the end was possibly a queen that was going to lay chest bursters that will lead to what happens in the Alien movies.
Right.
And we may never know that because Damon Lindelof said that if there are sequels, they will not lead in the direction of the Alien movies. They will lead in the direction that we saw them going off to the source or whatever.
Right. So I agree that scene, I'm not going to say should have been left on the cutting room floor, but I'm going to say could have been left on the cutting room floor. I could take that scene or leave it.
Okay.
Like, I didn't have, I thought it was a cool scene.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was important.
No.
It didn't upset me to see it. It was scene neutral. It was cool.
Yeah, I think that's true. I disagree with this guy that it should have been cut.
But it's like my problem with everybody. It's like, all right, this is the same problem I had with the Planet of the Apes movie, not Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but the Planet of the Apes, the Marky Mark.
Okay.
Is like, you people, we've evolved into a bunch of people who don't think. I said in my review, and like, have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yes.
All right. It's like, this movie makes a lot more sense to me if it takes place in the same universe as Cabin in the Woods. And this is like a big setup. Okay. Because everybody makes stupid decisions and they rush into them. This is something you've been searching for your whole life.
Yeah.
And you finally convince someone to take you there on their spaceship, and you travel for 2 years, you're sleeping, and you get to the planet. And, what do? You immediately land on the planet, you run out of your spaceship all willy-nilly, you got your robot touching shit he shouldn't be touching, people taking off their helmets. Within, they were on that planet and causing shit within 6 hours of arriving.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't need to see that they circled the planet for, a few days, scanning it.
That's true. They just landed and found the aliens, right?
Yeah. For all they know, that planet was completely hollow. And, as soon as they landed, they could have fallen into the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to show us or even explain a lot. All you need is one line, and they already used dates. They threw dates up on the screen, like this happened, 2089.
Yeah.
2093. It's like, so say, when they get there, it's September 1st, and then say, September 7th. And have someone say, well, we're done with the preliminary scan. That's it. You throw that line in there. And at least I know that they're thinking.
And then one of those two guys that got killed because they got left behind.
Right.
He was all angry, right? He wouldn't even talk to the scientist lady. And then later on, he just turned into this big giant wuss. I thought he was going to be one of the cool, I'm one of those military antagonist guys. I'm going to be a big tough military guy, like in Aliens, Right. I just want to know where they are, and nothing. We got nothing else out of him but that one angry line where he didn't want to be her friend, and then he got to cry and run away from the giant penis snake aliens that they found on the planet there.
And it turns out that those two guys are actually they were pretty smart. One was a geologist,
right,
and the other's a botanist.
That's right.
And the geologist guy, he had those really cool probe things that we see in the trailers and of course in the movie with that red light. So he's mapping out the entire dome.
Yeah.
These are two smart guys who leave early because they get freaked out and immediately get fucking lost.
That's right, and they go right back to the big chamber full of weird goo and dead aliens. Would you go to hang out in that room?
Absolutely not.
No.
Especially if that's the room I was trying to run away from in the first place.
Absolutely. I hate tearing apart movies that I liked, but there were definitely some problems here.
Yeah, and I mean,
you know what else I didn't like? What about the assumption that okay, so we know that the engineers used the black goop to start their DNA synthesis on Earth, right? So now we have a spaceship full of canisters of this black goop, and they all assume, without hardly any thought, the captain says, this is obviously a doomsday weapon, and they must have, and since Robot Guy found that their coordinates were already set for Earth, they must have been going back to Earth to destroy humanity. So that motivation is what made the whole rest of their mission there. They had to crash the ship because these were doomsday weapons. They were going to Earth. They were gonna kill everyone. But we don't really know any of that for a fact. Nobody read any alien computer and said that was their future plan. Nobody said they don't know that goop is what causes the DNA synthesis. We know. Right. So what if they're all completely wrong? What if that isn't the case? Right? I mean, we could be curious why there's so much of the shit on their ship there, but really, what was the deal? What if were they planning on bringing the goop to Earth and using it on every human being? And then what? The human beings combine with alien goop again and everything restarts? That's why they needed so much of it?
Who knows?
There was definitely some weird stuff that that they assumed the answers to, and we really didn't get any good answers to.
Right. And and other things that really pissed me off about characters' motivations and not thinking is again, 6 hours after arriving, they're on the planet running around, and the scientist is like, no, we're not bringing weapons. It's like, man, fuck you. These people left that message 35,000 years ago. They could all be gone, and they could have left a whole bunch of dogs that have now become like this feral pack of insane things. No, fuck no, I'm bringing weapons. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't need to use them, but I am definitely bringing my fucking gun.
It's not like he has anything else to carry.
Right.
Just carry the gun.
And Holloway, like Shaw's boyfriend there.
Yeah.
It's like, all this time, he travels all this time, and his only motivation is to get to talk to the aliens.
Yeah. It annoyed me how pissed off he was that they were not alive. Did he really expect to see them walking around?
He did. He thought he was going to happy alien fucking planet.
So he got himself all drunk.
He got drunk, and then he got dosed by David.
Right. So now, okay, let's talk about David for a minute. Oh, this is a good long conversation about this movie. I like this.
Yeah.
First of all, this IO9 guy brought some things to my attention which I thought were cool. He said that this movie feels like a classed up version of The Thing. He said.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. He said, Alien and Aliens is so multi-layered and brilliant that you might feel a little sad from seeing this. It was not quite that. And he said that the character of David the Robot was played with subtlety, depth, and a touch of weird humor by Michael Fassbender. He said, I think this might have been one of the most outstanding performances of acting in this entire year. I thought he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought he was very good.
Yeah.
And so what he said was, every alien movie has its android, sometimes pretending to be human and sometimes openly synthetic. Okay, so the old man introduces David to the crew of the Prometheus as the son he never had, but then immediately undermines his emotional connection by asserting blithely that he doesn't have a soul. After we've seen David amusing himself by watching Lawrence of Arabia and playing basketball, his comment feels like a cruel rejection. We can already tell he has a soul as well as major daddy issues. As the film unfolds, David's innocent obedience begins to feel more and more like a program he hates executing. We can almost see him grimacing under his smiles as he waits on the crew. While the scientists struggle to understand the monstrous truths about the alien installation, he coolly studies what they found, engaging in ever more dangerous experiments. Knowing his father will never leave the company in his hands, nor even acknowledge the basic humanity of his son, makes his selfless work for Wayland even more fraught and disturbing. Eventually we realize that David and the aliens have something in common. They hate humanity for more or less good reasons and will do anything to destroy us. All the movies in the Alien franchise have played with this idea, comparing and contrasting the motives of aliens and robots. But here in Prometheus, this idea finally comes to fruition. David's arc is so brilliant and compelling that I'm tempted to say this movie is about the consciousness of robots, and that fighting aliens is just the setting where a story about human-robot relations of the future take place.
Yeah, I might agree with that.
That's pretty.
But yeah,
I read that to Jen, and she was like, "Did I see that movie?" She was like, "Because that sounds awesome." And she said, "And I didn't see it." She said, "That's what Red does when she talks about movies that have deep inner meanings, and all I ever see is the surface of them." And I was like, "Yeah, that's probably about right. A good comparison."
Yeah, David was easily my favorite character. He was the only one who I really liked. And I felt like he had a little bit of Hal going on too. Like I felt that, there was stuff that he had to do that he didn't necessarily want to do, and maybe that caused him some issues as well.
Yeah.
But on further reflection, I was thinking about this earlier today. I was wondering when he dosed Holloway with the black goo. I'm wondering if that was also just he wanted to see what would happen because. Obviously at that time, I don't think he knew at that time that there were other aliens alive there.
No, he hadn't been
engineers.
No, he hadn't been down in the basement yet.
Right. So, I was wondering if he was thinking that maybe this black goo, like if the black goo made Holloway better, maybe this is what Wayland would be looking for.
Maybe, yeah.
But at the very end, another thing that upset me, and again, this is one of the last things that happened in the movie. Is so the alien robot head and Shaw, they're going to escape the planet in another one of the engineer ships, and they're going to go. She wants to go find the engineers, their homeworld, to ask them why they would be such dicks.
Yeah,
man, they woke one up and he fucked them all up and tried to kill them.
Yep.
You want to go to their planet and ask them why? They're going to land, they're going to walk out, they're going to kill her. She's not going to be able to ask why.
Yeah, you're right. I doubt it. I mean...
This is when you go home and you prepare Earth for the fact that sooner or later, giant alien dicks might show up to try to fuck us up. That's what you do. You don't go to ask them why. This is actually worse than in Falling Skies when Noah Wiley's character gets on the spaceship, in the season finale. Because at least he thought he could accomplish something. She's going to accomplish getting killed in about 2 seconds after landing.
You're absolutely right, and I didn't like her whole. You know what I didn't understand the dream shots that they kept showing of her as a little girl. With her dad, we were supposed to get some kind of deep meaning and spirituality about her and the cross and her dad's cross and all that. I really didn't think that was necessary at all. I understand that she's looking for the meaning of life, and for some reason she still feels religious about. I didn't think it worked anyway.
No, I would agree.
Yeah, where's my cross from the headless robot? Oh, it's in my belt. I'm a headless robot. I have your cross in my belt. I kept it because I wanted to see what would happen. And she was really quick to trust him again, right? She immediately stitched up her own stomach and went out on that mission with them. I realized she wanted answers and wanted to see the live alien, partly because of her boyfriend really wanted to see it, and he died for it. But she wasn't pissed off at the robot at all after all that. I mean, I don't even know if she knew it was him. Did he ever tell her that he did it? I think maybe he did tell her that it was him. Once the old man was awake again.
Right. I don't know, man.
I don't know either. It was good. I don't want to tell everyone who stayed listening to this and hasn't seen it yet. You know the whole movie now. But
it was good, that's really that's my biggest dilemma with the movie is the fact that it was really good. And it's I just felt that it could have been better had they not been trying too hard.
Yeah.
To do something. I don't even know what they were trying to do. Maybe they weren't trying hard enough. I don't know. It just felt like when you throw something together and what you've thrown together is awesome, but it's still just kind of thrown together.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good, but
there's a handful of questions here in the comments that are funny too. Why do the black goo suddenly oozes from those urns after 2,000 years? So, that's the kind of answer that was obvious to me. It was just because the air changed. They opened the door and people showed up, right?
Sure.
What happened to the space jockeys? The whole movie is about finding that, but you never find that. Well, yeah, we don't actually know why they were in hibernation there and stuck or dying or whatever, right?
Right. I mean, I think it seemed to me, based on the holograms that we got to see.
Yeah.
It seems like there was either an accident.
Yeah.
Or like perhaps there were like two different factions that were kind of duking it out.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I was thinking is like, maybe there's like some of the engineers were like, you know what, we're gonna go fuck up Earth because, it's been 35,000 years and it's due for a fucking up. And maybe there were a bunch of engineers who were like, nah, man, they're cool. So maybe it was like a minor civil war busted out.
Maybe. Yeah, so there's a lot of I can go on and on with these comments. Get to you can get into it. You can really tear holes in it if you really want to, but we talked about it forever. So let's go. Let's take a break. Let's take our break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the finale of Game of Thrones. We're going to throw together some. We got some movie news and some TV news, and we'll be right back. For the listeners of Not the Show, Audible is offering free download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Audible.com is an audiobook service where you can get any book and listen to it, download it to any of your gadgets. They have every Stephen King book. They have anything up to date and modern. They have. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. You go to audibletrial.com/nottheshow and you get a free book with a free 30-day trial. So you get any book and you get to keep that book forever. Even after the 30-day trial is over, you can keep it. You continue to use the app or whatever you're listening to it on, and you can keep it forever. So to download your free audiobook, go to audibletrial.com/nottheshow. Again, that's audibletrial.com/nottheshow. And we thank Audible for their support of Not the Show today. We'll be right back.
The city at night, the tall dark buildings cast this ghostly shadow to his burning eyes. Oh, Romeo, 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 yeah. Romeo, he cruised the streets at night, and under his feet lay all the remains of all the cruisers before him. Out of the alley, into these green laser eyes, saying, closer, closer. To the end! But he's still alone.
can do that. I guess I'm back. The music just conked out, so I guess that's it for the music. I can't hear you. Your mic's still muted.
Yeah, there I am.
So that was Romeo. That totally crashed on me.
That was the Wipers.
The Wipers, yeah.
The Wipers. And our opening song was Celebrated Summer by Anthrax. It's a Husker Du cover of their Celebrated Summer.
So let me do this first.
Here is some money. Take him to the movies or something.
Since we were already talking about movies. And before I go on, we saw Prometheus, before we go off of Prometheus, we saw it in a Dine-In AMC movie theater. Now, you may want to wonder what a Dine-In theater is. So it cost... So I don't know what a 3D movie costs by you, but like a regular movie by us is like $12, and you add $3 for 3D, so it's like $15 for a 3D movie.
Right.
You add another $3 if it's 3D IMAX, so you almost get up to $20 when it's 3D IMAX. And then Fandango charges $1 if you order from Fandango. It's similar everywhere. But we saw Prometheus at a Dine-In theater, and what a Dine-In theater is we paid $19 a ticket, including Fandango fee, for 3D. And what you do is you pick your own seats, right? It's like a concert. You choose your seats.
Right.
You get there and you sit, and the seat is a lazy boy, like full-fledged leather lazy boy, giant arms, cup holders on both sides. The back of the thing was higher than my head, so I was able to lean back on my head. I'm tall, head on the cushion. You push a button in the armrest, and your legs lift up, just like a lazy boy. You could almost lay flat, right?
Nice.
Okay, so then add to that the fact that you push a button, and your waitress shows up. And your waitress brings you a menu, and they have food, like Fridays kind of foods, burgers. They have pizza. They have they have steak and salmon and real Fridays style food going on.
And this is during the film?
We got there half hour early, so we were choosing our food and we ordered our food before the movie started.
Okay.
Like diet soda, $4.50 for bottomless diet soda. Right, so they bring out the food, the movie starts, and now we're eating. Waiters. Yeah, you gotta remember, waiters are now walking around like through the whole movie. Right?
Yeah,
so
I was about to say that might be annoying.
There's a waiter for every 2 rows. So there's a waiter that when people push their call button, the waiter goes and walks by. But there's 8 feet between the rows because there's enough room to recline, and there's enough room for a waiter to walk by with a tray. So after you eat, they clear your plate, And then I was like, I still want popcorn. What do I do now? And there's popcorn on the menu. So I ordered popcorn. It was $8 for a giant. They bring out a giant bowl of popcorn, and it's warm and fresh, and it's unlimited. So now I've got an $8 bowl of popcorn and a $4.50 soda. Forget about the food. So for $12.50, I've got more soda and popcorn than I would get if I bought a large popcorn and a large soda for less money.
Sure.
So even if you don't order food, the fact that I was able to that you get a fresh bowl of bottomless popcorn and all that it was an amazingly good movie going experience. Jen said, "I don't think I'll ever be able to go to another movie theater in my life than this one."
Now, I mean, I gotta say, our movie theater, and I don't know, I thought this was like kind of standard, but if you get like a large popcorn and a large soda, I mean, it's,
You still get free refills.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of theaters still have that. But even if I never
who wants to
refilled,
get up?
That's
I don't
right.
want to get up.
So this one, the waiter will come and get me another popcorn and another soda.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was pretty fantastic. It was a pretty great movie-going experience. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who has an AMC Dine-In theater near them.
Now, while you're watching, though, I mean, what I got to wonder is, while you're watching, I mean, is it annoying if, like, someone else, like, you're watching, a headless robot or robot head, like, doing stuff, and you're like, what's he up to? And then someone's like, hey, yeah, I'd like another popcorn.
Yeah,
bring me some cheese fries. And
there's some whispering, but the seats are far enough apart and the rows are far enough apart that, and it's, I forgot to mention the best part. The whole theater is 21 and over, and there's a bar. You could order martinis, pitchers of beer, They bring it right to you. Anything. They have a full bar, where they serve you at your seat. So the seats are so far apart and everything is so spread out that I heard less talking, I think, at this movie than at a regular movie where there'd be kids or teenagers or any of that, because there's none of that. No teenagers.
Right.
21 and over. These are adults that paid good money, that work, and that want to see this movie because they paid good money for it. You know, I mean, they came. They brought me a check. I had to dig out money and pay the check during the movie. You know, so there's some trade-offs. I don't know if a movie I'd need to really concentrate on, if it would bug me or not. But you know, this was a great experience.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I just had to quit iTunes, but I'm back. Something is really bogging down my CPU at the moment, and I can't tell what. But
weird.
Yeah, none of my backups are backing up, and I shut iTunes. iTunes is what crashed before, so fuck iTunes. It must, it's probably freaking Chrome. Google sucks.
I love Chrome.
So do I. It's the only. I mean, I use Safari some, but Chrome I use is my primary browser.
Right.
But all right, let's move on. I'm done talking about my awesome movie experience. So rest in peace, Ray Bradbury. I forgot to say that at the top of the show. Ray Bradbury died. He's 92 years old. Long life. Wrote 3 great books and a lot of short stories. That's what Stephen King said. 3 great books and tons of amazing short stories. Did he really only write 3 books?
I think he only wrote 3 great books.
Yeah, maybe that's what. Maybe
I think he's written more than that.
He must have. So yeah, 3 great books is Fahrenheit 451, Martian Chronicles, and I don't know the last.
He wrote Dandelion Wine. So if Dandelion Wine wasn't one of the ones Stephen King was talking about, then it's definitely more than 3 novels. But.
No, I think that's the one he was talking about. So sorry to hear about him. It was also the 30th anniversary of Wrath of Khan.
Khan!
Yeah, Blaster says that if it wasn't for Wrath of Khan, Star Trek may never have proceeded further than the motion picture.
I watched Star Trek 6 last night.
6 is one of the gooder ones.
Yep, it was
Generations?
It was a even number, right? That was 6 was Undiscovered Country.
Malcolm McDowell. Is that Undiscovered Country?
No, that was that was Generations.
That was
Undiscovered Country was the one with the Klingons and.
Right, Kirk and McCoy go to jail to shapeshift.
Right.
That was one of the good ones.
Target that explosion and fire.
Oh, I love that scene. and the equipment for cataloging gaseous anomalies that was not actually on the ship.
Right, it was supposed to be on Excelsior.
Right, it was on Excelsior. They mentioned at the beginning of the movie.
The very beginning. We're out here cataloging gaseous anomalies. But Uhura, through the magic of being Uhura, is, somehow manages to get it on board Enterprise just by saying, well, what about that equipment we have?
So the 3rd and final of the rebooted Star Trek movies is underway. I don't know if they're writing or... it sounds like they're just talking about it, basically. Motorcycles.
Now, by final, I mean, they're mostly talking about final for, like, J.J. Abrams and company, right?
Yeah,
Because they can continue to do...
Of course, and they probably will.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger says he'll be back for 2 more Terminator movies.
I don't know how that's going to...
He says, I can't say too much. It's a secret, but next year we'll start filming, and it's going to be one of the hardest films I've ever done. He said they have set aside 6 months for filming, and he'll be training and getting to the best physical shape I possibly can before filming. It follows Salvation, although some of the producers and franchise owners were not too happy with Salvation. They felt it was good enough to continue the storyline from there.
I liked but didn't love Salvation.
I did too. I didn't like the CGI Arnold, but I did like the ideas of Salvation.
Right. And so, how does it profit Skynet to keep churning out the same, humanoid, Terminator? Just make them look older?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it does Skynet think that there's oh, here comes a Terminator? Well, this one looks kind of old. He shouldn't be that hard to beat.
Yeah, there's problems with it, definitely.
I would like to maybe see Schwarzenegger play something that's not a Terminator.
Well, he's gonna be in the new Expendables.
And that's okay, because that's a movie about old people kicking ass.
I liked Expendables 1. I'm really looking forward to Expendables 2, actually.
I liked it, but I
didn't really need a sequel to you?
You know, I don't even mind the fact that it had a sequel. There's just like, you know, there were a couple really big plot holes that really shouldn't have bothered me that much. Me and John, it made us insane.
Yeah.
That Dolph Lundgren got to like come back and
Yeah,
like,
it was
hang
just
out with
buddy
everybody.
again.
Yeah, it's like, no, fuck you. It's like John's whole thing was like, you know, I understand your motivations, but you're not coming back to my house.
Right, and now the second one has got the rest of the 80s action movie stars in it. You know, Bruce Willis is in this one, and the karate guy with the splits on the chair.
I can't remember his name.
Me
It's probably a good thing.
He was on Stern recently, actually. Funny.
Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Funny to actually say those words, that he was on Stern recently. Yeah, so that's coming out. Jerry O'Connell is going to play the lead in the upcoming reboot of The Munsters. He's playing Herman Munster. This is sort of Stephen King news, right? Because Jerry O'Connell was in Stand By Me, and he is going to be playing the role that Fred Gwynne played in the original Munsters, and Fred Gwynne was in the original Pet Sematary.
Right.
So this is sort of Stephen King altogether. The movie's going to be called Mockingbird Lane. It's a reboot of The Munsters.
I mean, Jerry O'Connell, I mean, I like him and all, but
Science fiction.
he really just seems to be more like an Eddie Munster.
I guess, but maybe he's too old at this point. But, you know, the picture in sciencefiction.com, they found a good, creepy-looking, weird picture of Jerry O'Connell, and they put it next to a Fred Gwynne as the Munsters, as Herman Munster. And he's kind of got the face for it if they put a square head on him.
Cool.
Yeah. Some superhero movie news. Justice League movie is finally going to get made. I guess they saw the success of the Avengers and they decided, hey, we should make a movie with other franchises that are around already, right? Because Justice League is Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern,
right?
And we already have we already have them around.
Sort of. I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem that they're talking about.
Yep.
Is you know, everybody's used to what's his nuts there? The guy who's Christian Bale as Batman. He's not doing Batman at all anymore, ever.
Nope. This is it.
There are two people who recently played Superman.
True. There's another. They're rebooting that, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
That'll be out. No, not this year. I don't think this year.
No, I think next year. Yeah, next.
You know, they had Green Lantern, which, while it didn't suck, like, it wasn't good, and
Nope.
it definitely flopped.
Didn't make any money. So I think they're going to do Wonder Woman first and see if they can make any money in Wonder Woman. And then they're going to go to Justice League after that.
See, now, I think that they shouldn't do that. And that's something else I wrote about on Geek Trash recently. Because, you know, I think that they don't need to do that. They don't need any new origin stories. And my argument on Geek Trash was basically that the main two characters that you're going to have that are going to draw people to the movie are Batman and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who the fuck is playing Batman and Superman. It doesn't matter how recently you've seen a movie. Everybody on the planet knows who they are.
Yeah.
And I think they should just do the origin stories like everyone else's origin after. I think if they want to try to get this out, I don't think they should waste time. And I think they should sign the current Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Sign Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter that Green Lantern sucks. Sign him.
You're right.
And whoever's going to be Batman in the next reboot, sign him now. Start him off on Justice League. And, you know, you can introduce the other characters in the process of getting the characters together and then give them more complicated backstories after.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I even wrote like a whole like how to do the movie on Geek Trash, and of course, I mean, basically, the best thing that they could do using the main characters they have, the best thing they could do is to rip off the Avengers, which is sad.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, their biggest villain that would actually be most of a threat is some space guy who looks weird, kind of like, you know, Thanos did at the end of Avengers. Martian Manhunter is a pretty big important character in you know, in Justice League. And you could pull him in, but again, it's like he was brought to Earth by a teleporter, like an accident, kind of like, you know, sort of like Thor was. So it's like I figured that you could work that into the story too. And as I was like writing this down, like how you could possibly make this movie, like it was just more and more like Avengers without trying to be. because it's just the similarities.
Yeah.
But I'm not writing a spec script for this, so I think they can work it out.
I'm sure they'll figure it out. I don't know if it'll do well. Maybe. Superhero movies tend to do okay, but
yeah, it's like DC heroes kind of. I don't know. I don't want to say they suck, but they kind of suck. Most of them. I mean, Justice League has got most of the cool ones, but the balance of like power is just like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, because like Superman is like the most powerful person like in the universe generally.
Right.
And people can say, well, the Avengers have the Hulk, but the Hulk's got a big drawback of being kind of stupid.
It's true.
So it's like, I don't know.
Well, we shall see. Let's move on to the X-Men, more superheroes, more comics. It looks like 20th Century Fox has filed the title Days of Future Past with the Motion Picture Association of America for an unidentified future project. They didn't say X-Men Days of the Future Past. They just filed the title Days of Future Past. And X-Men comic book readers know that that's a title of a popular comic arc from the books from 1981. It's a 2-issue arc that delved into a potential dark future where mutants are kept locked up in internment camps. So that's kind of interesting.
Those were 2 great issues that have basically propelled like everything that's happened in X-Men since. Like it basically has a link back to that.
Yeah, it says that this could potentially work as a first-class sequel or a way to reboot and continue the original X-Men film trilogy. So that's interesting. Doctor Who news. Tom Baker says he will return for the 50th anniversary episode if they ask him nicely.
That's all I need to do.
He says, I think if they ask me nicely or I can see if they want me to do it, I'll consider it. I think the fans have been so good to me that they'd expect me to at least make an appearance.
Yeah, it's like, what... How else would someone possibly ask Tom Baker to, like...
Meanly? You better be in this or you're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, of course they're going to ask nicely, because they want him in it. He's the, of all the old doctors, I mean, he's the most recognizable.
Yep, so taking a head count, Matt Smith's 11 is on board, of course. The 10th Dr. David Tennant is more than ready to come back. The 8th, Paul McGann. The 5th, Peter Davidson. And the 7th, Sylvester McCoy doctors all want to do it too. And presumably Colin Baker, the 6th Doctor, is more than willing to give it a go. Christopher Eccleston has already made it clear that he was not going to participate.
Which makes me sad.
Yeah, he was good, but he was 1 season, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe he had an issue with them, and that's why he only lasted 1 season.
Maybe. I mean, my understanding was he was only supposed to last 1 season anyway because they wanted to throw Regeneration in like pretty quick.
Right. Okay.
But I don't know. Who knows?
So the last bit of news is ScienceFiction.com had a little article about how alphas will change for this season. If we remember the end of alphas last season, you used to watch, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If we remember the way it ended with the professor. I don't know if he's called the professor. The doctor. He's a therapist, right? The doctor revealed to the world that alphas exist and that he went public and showed proof or whatever. And so now they're saying that it's going to start off with him in prison and the team all split up. And as typical as it sounds and as rehashed of a storyline is, the government has a serious problem with bad guy alphas, and they reluctantly take him out of prison and let him get his team back together to go back to work. So it sounds like a familiar storyline we've heard before, but Alphas is still a good show, so I'm looking forward to next season.
Yeah, I can hardly wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I want to talk a little bit about... let's watch the trailer for Django Unchained. That's the new Quentin Tarantino movie coming out. I don't know how soon. Do you know how soon?
No, but soon.
Yeah, soon.
Did you see the trailer before Prometheus?
Yes, I did. Rolling now. Looks great, actually.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Great cast, too.
Good cold evening, gentlemen. Amongst your inventory, I've been led to believe is a specimen I'm keen to acquire.
When I hear that trumpet sound,
What's
I
your
muted
name?
that for a second.
Rise right out of the ground.
Django.
You're
Django.
exactly the one I'm looking for.
The J is silent.
Stop talking to him.
Calm down. I'm simply a customer trying to conduct a transaction.
Last chance, fancy pants.
Oh, very well. Do you know what a bounty hunter is?
You kill people, and they give you a reward.
Better, they are bigger the reward. I need your help. I'm looking for the Brittle Brothers. However, I don't know what they look like, but you do. Don't you?
They caught my wife, and they sold her, but I don't know who to.
That means we visit every plantation until we find them. Once a final Brittle Brother lies dead in the dust, I agree to give you your freedom, and I'll take you to rescue your wife.
Where are we going?
Christmas. This Christmas.
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
How do you like the bounty hunting business?
Kill white folks and they pay you for it? What's not to like? I like the way you die, boy.
He is a rambunctious sword, ain't he?
What's your name?
Django. The D is silent.
So that looks good. Typical it looks like Tarantino, a Western, that's what it is. It's a Tarantino Western.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It does. It looks like it's going to be great. All right, now we're going to talk about Game of Thrones. Because Game of Thrones ended for season 2. It ended really pretty awesomely. I got 4 minutes. Wait, give me 4 minutes here. I'm going to play something. Play something funny.
Okay.
I'm not going to...
Watching Game of Thrones, I haven't left home, told everyone that I had the flu. It's an obsession, I'm filled with depression, cause it's the end of season 2. Now my friends all tell me that I've lost my grip on reality. They tell me it's just a nerd show, but dragons are real to me. Someday those dragons will be grown, Daenerys will be my queen, and when we reclaim the throne you won't be allowed in our house. Don't call me at 9 on a Sunday night, I don't care who died. I'm filling my mind with sword fights and quests, horse lords and incest. When Ned died I cried. Watching Game of Thrones, it's like a black hole. Wanna kill Joffrey with his own shoes. Magical kingdoms with naked women, and none of them have silicone boobs. And if the 7 kingdoms did exist, I would drink and party with that imp. Viserys had gold poured onto his head. He's no fucking dragon, now he's dead. Ouch! I'll stick my dire wolf on ya if you get in my way. He's actually a chihuahua, but he'll still rip off your face. I only leave my apartment to put the rent in the mail. That's right, I still pay my bills cause Lannisters repay their debts. I'm joining the Night's Watch, it's my birthright. I'll stand guard for White Walkers in the snow. This wall kind of blows, no hot girls, just bros and old crusty guys. Watching Game of Thrones, I feel bad for Jon Snow. It seems like he's always getting screwed. Gave up on Mad Men cause nothing happened, except for when Don's wife sang Zooby Zoo. The Lannisters all look like surfer dicks. Jamie banged his sister, she's a bitch. No one knows that King Joffrey's their kid, except for maybe Peter Dinklage. This is
nothing but nerd shit. You better get a damn grip and go outside and get some fresh air. Get your fat butt unstuck from that chair. You ain't a dragon slayer just to lose it in your underwear. Wait a second, did I just see a pair of boobs? If you don't mind, I'ma chill for a few with you. Dude, why is that girl pretending she a boy, yo? Oh shit, that witch just gave birth to a cloud of smoke. How did that hot naked blonde chick survive the fire? Isn't that Mayor Carcetti from The Wire? I apologize for being so shitty before. The show is Lord of the Rings, but with titties galore. But I'm not sure who I'm supposed to root for. I like Rob Stark, but I like the dwarf more. Call my manager and cancel my tour. I gotta read A Storm of Swords.
Oh, the unbridled joy, you were a nice boy till you had those two kids barbecued. Winter is coming, I'm not sure what that means, but you can bet it's probably bad news. I'm not playing music anymore. From now on, you can just be Maroon 4. Next time they do the voice, I won't be there. Tell CeeLo his cat can have my chair, 'cause I'm stuck in Game of Thrones.
Ducky of Awesome.
Oh, that's
That
great.
was good.
There's a video along with it. It's like just like kind of animated clips from the not pieces of the show because they would get taken down if they actually showed clips of the show, but photos of the show that kind of move and turn, and he illustrates on top of them like bubbles with word bubbles, stuff like that. Very fun.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the show before, but have you checked out Arrested Westeros?
No.
It's a ArrestedWesteros.com. It's a website that have you ever watched Arrested Development?
Of course.
Okay, this guy takes and he takes up submissions of people have sent in pictures from Games of Thrones, like screen caps.
Yeah.
But they they put in like a dialogue from Arrested Development, and it works out really well. It's like they're really the same show, but one just happens to take place in a fantasy setting. You should definitely check it out. ArrestedWesteros.com.
I will. That's pretty funny. So, did you like how it ended?
I did. I thought it was pretty good. It's
Different than the book.
very different than the book.
Yeah.
But, I'm okay with that because, while I'm expecting some things to stay the same, I'm definitely expecting a lot of things to be different because they kind of established that fairly early on.
Yeah, I think there'll be some spoilers here if anybody cares. Right, next season is going to be they're going to split the book into 2 seasons, which is probably good. A lot goes on. I didn't read the next book, but from what I understand, the next book, a lot goes on. But the last scene that we see about north of the wall, we see the White Walkers show up, and from what I remember, at the end of the book, it was it wasn't the war that was going to happen was going to be between the was the other guys, was the whatchamacallits, wasn't it?
Yeah, the
wildlings, is that what they're called?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Right? Wasn't that right? I hardly remember anymore. So
the White Walkers do show up. I need to reread them.
Yeah.
Because book spoiler and possibly the season 3 episode 1 spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
Samwell Tarly, he kills one.
Right.
With a piece of the dragon glass. But there weren't I don't think there were hundreds.
Yeah, so I don't know where they're going to go with that. But anyway, it was real good. About halfway through the season, I started being able to tolerate full episodes again. While I was getting there, it took me. I was fast forwarding through parts that were boring me.
Right.
But I liked how it came out in the end. It was good.
Absolutely.
I'm glad Sansa can finally leave now. Although I don't remember if she does. Does she leave does she take up his offer and leave? What's his name?
Well, that's one of the things they change is if you remember that drunken knight that almost got killed by Joffrey earlier in the season, Sir, I want to call him Dontrell. That might not be right.
Okay.
Dontrose.
Dontrose.
Not Dontrell.
Mm-hmm.
He was some drunken slack ass knight who was just like a white trash knight.
Right.
And Joffrey almost had him killed, and Sansa, basically spared his life.
Mm-hmm.
And then every day she would go to the little grove, because her people pray to those trees.
Yeah.
And she'd go and she'd pray for terrible things to happen to Joffrey and for her to go home, and he overheard her. And he said that he would save her.
Okay.
And he started plotting with her. Now, it turns out later on in the book series that Littlefinger was helping him. But they seem to have like cut him out of the story altogether and just gone straight with Littlefinger.
Littlefinger helping. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. Now it's going to be another year before we see more.
I have issues with that, man.
Yeah, it's a long time. But it was good. I liked it. I liked how it ended. I liked the dragons. I liked Daenerys' whole storyline, and so that was very cool the way they ended that Daenerys storyline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't quite remember if that's how it was in the book either.
I know she did have her dragons set someone's head on fire.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was in that city. But again, I mean, I don't think she ever actually lost her dragons.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so either.
But, yeah, either way, definitely good. And we got to see our favorite dwarf got to get some nookie. I mean, all of his action was pretty much done. Now he's just kind of like bedridden.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was good. It was good. I'm glad I stayed with it. So I guess that's it. Anything else on your end? You have anything else? I don't have anything else.
No, I have nothing else. Just a Terminal Signal plug. If you happen to like any bands that have ever released material on SST Records, it's going to be SST Week all week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's terminalsignal.net.
Yep.
And you can subscribe to that podcast, RSS or iTunes. And it's a daily show over about 10 minutes worth of music and talk about music.
Yep, every morning.
Mm-hmm. And we do a Stephen King podcast. There'll be a new episode this week, I think. And that'll be up on Discordia19.com. And we're Not The Show. You can follow us at Not The Show on Twitter at Joey is me, and he's at Dharmabob. And you can like us on our Facebook page. We're at facebook.com/NotTheShow.
You should like us.
You should, definitely. And so that's it. We'll talk again next week, I think. Next week. I don't think I have anything going on next week. So.
Oh, I might have something going on next week.
All right.
Because Mary Ellen actually will be, she'll be in town next week.
Okay, so you let me know what's going on, and we'll possibly take a week off, or we'll talk to you. Anyway, we'll talk to you soon.
Definitely.
Loyal listeners. All right. We're out. Have a good night, buddy.
You too.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.